What is going on, everybody? So today we're checking out a buddy of mine. He has a 2015 Mustang. Now, I've done Mustangs on numerous, actually almost all of my videos, but there's something different about this one, and you will find out here shortly. First off, I want to introduce, this is my buddy Chris, also known as Project Quicksilver on Instagram, so make sure and go check his page out. But what we're just gonna talk about his car today. Tell y'all what's done to it, what he likes and doesn't like about it, what plans he has for the car, and just kind of give y'all some overall information. First off, I just want to thank you for allowing me to make a video of your car. So why don't you go ahead and just give an explanation of what you have done to the car.
For the most part, it's just a premium. It's got no navigation, stuff like that. It wasn't really important to me, but I came from a S197 Brembo car, cloth seats, absolutely no options. I wanted to get something that was a little bit more creature friendly, had a little bit more comfort in the vehicle. So I decided to trade in my vehicle. I got a deal with a buddy of mine, Skyler. He works at he owns a place called Cambridge Motorsports. They're up in Missouri. Ended up settling on something, and we made a trek up to Dallas. He trailered the car from Missouri, swapped keys, and came back. But I had a part list for the vehicle I wanted to take care of. I just wanted something that was something that I didn't really grow into, something that I could keep for a long time and not have to worry about dumping a bunch of extra money into. So I did a 2.9 Whipple, pretty much with all the goodies that comes with the kit, excluding the dual fans, and pretty much went from there.
So do you ever plan on doing the dual fans just to kind of help keep everything a little bit cooler?
Yeah, right now the thermostat is showing 95 degrees, and it is only June, so summer is just about begun. So I've only had the car since October, and I haven't really experienced summer with the vehicle yet, so I haven't really seen overheating issues and stuff like that. So dual fans, it's probably $600. It's a needed item for these vehicles at least.
What was the reason for not doing it, having that added with your parts list?
I think I was thinking about fall, and that for whatever reason that Houston wasn't hot, but it is. Someone told me that you may need it, you may not need it, and a lot of people were telling me that from up north, so I think you definitely need it. Right now inlet air temps are 120 degrees, so it's about 22 degrees difference, so it definitely runs hot.
You plan on doing, I noticed that you have the it's an open intake right now. You gonna get the lid to close it off, or?
I've thought about it. It's one of those things. My car definitely has got some aesthetic things with it, and when you pop the hood and you see a closed air box, some people don't appreciate it, but for what it's worth, it obviously performs 100 times better.
Now, you said you came from a S197. What all was done to that car, and was it a big change going from that to this?
Yeah, like I said, I had a 2012 that was a S197. It was full bolt-on E85, had full exhaust. It was race star with a drag rate all back. I took it to the track a couple times. I wouldn't say I'm the best driver, but it was definitely a fun car for NA. And then I decided that, got tired of being on anything Coyote and pages like that, where every single person's got a Paxton car and they're running 10s at the track, and I wanted to dabble with that and try and put my hands in there and have a little bit of fun myself, and ended up building a car and kind of doing one of my own. But yeah, it's a completely different car, and I did an automatic on this one. MT82 problems,
Yeah. How much power would you say you were pushing out of your S197 versus the S550?
I never dynoed that car. It was on E85 last time I had it. Like I said, it was full bolt-on. It was I would say give or take 430 to 440 range would be my guess.
Okay.
And then we had a S550 dyno day probably 4 months ago or something like that. I can't remember exactly when we had that, but out of the box with just a cat back on the car, it made 690 to the wheel and around 5. It's a low torque car for sure. Whipples are, I gues, notorious for that, but about 520 torque.
So, and now that kind of brings into the next part of what is your exhaust setup?
We've got a American Racing 1 7/8 off-road setup on this, and it connects up to Corsa Extreme catback. It's probably one of the absolute loudest setups you can buy for these cars, but due to the fact that the Corsa Extreme has a double X pipe in it, it's very little drone. It's a pretty quiet car when you keep your foot out of it.
I will attest to that because as you were talking, I was looking and I noticed we were about 2250, 2500 RPMs before you let off. You can hear the exhaust, but there's not that low note. There's not that drone. Right now you're in what, probably fourth gear, fifth gear?
Yeah.
And we're at 2750. I don't know how well the microphone on the camera is picking this up, but you can hear it, and it's not a bad thing. It's the good kind of note where you can hear the exhaust, but it's not difficult for us to have a conversation. And as many of y'all know, when you add long tube, especially catless headers to an exhaust, it increases the volume a lot. And usually the louder you get an exhaust, the more likely drone's going to happen. This car, it's got me rethinking my exhaust setup. So we were talking earlier and you said that it's still got the bottleneck. Do you plan to go full 3-inch on the exhaust and get rid of that? I think it's like a 6-inch section, 6 inch to a foot section of just 2.5 inch.
Yeah, I think it's like 10 or 12 inches, something like that. That's one of those things. If I really start chasing numbers for the vehicle, then I'll probably obviously I'll try and maximize the vehicle and get the absolute most amount of power out of the vehicle that I can, and that will probably increase it a little bit more. But yeah, that's always something that I have to check down the road for sure.
So with you had mentioned you're probably pushing, you said around 690 to the rear wheels with the kit.
Yeah, it's probably in the low to mid 7s right now with the headers put on. I'm still in the tuning phases of the car.
So what's your tire setup on the car? Are you running radials? Are you running street tires?
On the fronts, I mean the fronts don't really matter too much. I just have a regular old P0 up front. It's just a 265 tire. In the back, I've got a 305/35 ET Street. They're on 20-inch wheels. Definitely hook on the street. The track is still trying to figure them out. I've never had a 20-inch setup before. I've always had, if I went to the track, it was a 15-inch wheel with a meteor tire.
So you still kind of skate around on the track a little bit, or?
Not so much. I mean, it just kind of spins out of the hole whether you launch soft, put a little bit of heat into it, but couldn't figure it out. It's just one of those things you got to kind of play with. And
well, suspension's a big factor in getting the power down as well. Do you have any suspension mods yet, or?
Just springs. I'm in contact with Steeda right now as far as getting their stop the hop kit.
Okay.
Just to obviously get that power down a little bit better.
What are your plans for the vehicle? Do you have a certain horsepower you're wanting to shoot, a certain 60 foot, a certain quarter mile? Or is it just you want to have an all-around fun car that you can drive on the street, hurt people's feelings if you need to, and go to the track and do the same thing all in a day, and then drive home and not trailer it?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I was just looking for a a daily monster that originally my plan was 600 to 650 to the wheel. When it came out of the box at 690, I was like, well, okay, I've already achieved what I needed. Why don't I get a little bit more out of it? But goals, I mean, I've already hit a horsepower number, so now I'm just chasing an ET number. The car out of the box for most people is going to be in the 10s, and I'd like to see 10s out of the vehicle. It is a daily driver, so it's got to be a little normal with the driving. I can't just make it absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to get me to point A to point B. It's my only vehicle, so.
What gear ratio rear end are you running?
I ordered it with 355s because I didn't want 315s. 355s, I mean, they give you plenty of highway gear. I wanted a little bit of that acceleration factor with the car too. I didn't want it to be an absolute slug.
What are some things that you like about the car and how it's set up versus things that you don't like?
Just one of the things that almost every S550 owner talks about is probably going to be from an interior standpoint, especially from those that owned a S197 like myself. That was just a base car. I didn't even have sync in my vehicle, and I mean, I got the red line leather in this one. It's a premium with the premium interior trim, so it's got pretty much all the bells and whistles. I never experienced AC seats and stuff like that, so from that standpoint, the interior, hands down, is 10 times better.
I agree.
It's a lot more comfortable ride. The suspension, yes, it's an IRS, and people, you know, at least from a track standpoint, don't have a lot of good things to say about the IRS, but I feel that the ride of the vehicle is outstanding. Like you were talking earlier, wheel hop was a big issue with the S197s. You had to do a lot of modifications to get the wheels to stay planted and not to shutter down the track and stuff like that. And with these, I don't think there's a lot of stuff that you have to do to these cars to get them to perform like they should.
Oh, I mean, for example, Lethal Performance is running a similar or the same Whipple as you are. Of course, they got a few more supporting mods, but I mean, in an MT82, they're running. I think the last time I saw it, they were running, was it 8s or 9s?
Yeah. Is it that?
The blue one, yeah.
I think so. That car's disgusting.
I don't know if they have any like internal work other than probably the gears, the crank sprocket and oil pump gears. But yeah, that thing's nasty.
Yeah, it's on a small pulley, E85. It's got return fuel. So
it shows that these motors can push the power. I mean, people are running twin turbo setups pushing 900. Of course, how long that'll last, no one knows yet.
Like you said, borrowed time. It's one of those things you got to kind of play around with and figure out.
When you start pushing easily 700-800 horsepower at the rear wheels, you're gonna have some issues.
Yep.
Do you wish that you would have gone maybe either a twin turbo or a centrifugal route over the Whipple? Or
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I always thought about the Paxton. That's definitely probably the best bang for your buck. You know, a Vortec V3 kit, something like that. I mean, they make awesome power. They make way more torque than my setup has. But, you know, almost everybody has it.
Yeah.
The twin turbo, I just think of it from a maintenance standpoint. I daily drive the car, and I didn't want to have issues as far as turbo upkeep and stuff like that. If I had to do it again, I guarantee I would probably do a twin turbo setup on the vehicle. Everybody likes a turbo and the noises that they make, and they make great power.
Yeah, I mean, your horsepower and torque numbers are damn near identical versus how you said with a Whipple, you do have the torque curve it's instant, but it's a lot lower versus the horsepower.
Yeah, it hits it straight out of the hole, but it holds that arc or that torque curve the whole way. It never really increases.
Yeah. So what are some other things that you like about this car?
You know, the exterior of the vehicle. I do like the way that they designed the vehicle. I think it looks very good. It took a while for it to grow on me, for sure.
Same here.
It didn't really have that look that I thought a Mustang should really look like. Keep in mind, they had a big build-up on the car where everybody was looking at concepts of the vehicle, and no one really knew what it was going to look like until the vehicle, you know, fully released. But once it did release, I thought it was an okay vehicle. Would it have been my first choice of vehicle? Probably not, but I don't think there's anything really out there that is a better bang for your buck as far as these vehicles go.
Yeah, the looks for me were, in the beginning, the thing that I liked the most was the interior, and it's going to sound funny, but it was because of the toggle switches.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought it was the coolest thing. It kind of gives you that jet fighter feel to it. What are some of the things that that you would change, or you just wish that the car didn't have? Whether it's just how something looks or how something performs, whatever it is.
I think, like you said in probably one of your past videos, I absolutely cannot stand the quality control that went into these vehicles. I don't think that they spent enough time. I think that they were trying to rush and get these vehicles out. They thought that they had some form of time that they were competing against, even though the biggest competitor, the Camaro, released long after. I just think that they didn't put enough time into the vehicle. I've got panels that I have to go out every day and push in and check and make sure everything's lining up, and I don't think it gets annoying, and I can't speak for the engineers that build the vehicles, but it's kind of annoying to me.
Yeah. And I mean, working at Ford, you probably, out of more than anybody that can really talk that drives a Mustang, you see it every day.
Every day, yeah. And I mean, there's a handful of cars. I mean, coming down to the stripes that come on the GT350s, some of them aren't in line and stuff like that. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I'm all for paying more over sticker, but you know, when you look at vehicles like that where people are required to pay more money for a specialty vehicle, you would think that everything would be 100% on par with the car, and there's certain things that just, you know, aren't there.
Now, since you have the Whipple kit and you have an engaged, that means you don't have the Whipple tune. So you either got an HP tuner to tune the car, or you went with Lund. So you want to go ahead and let them know who you went with for your tune and why?
Yeah, the out of the box kit, I believe it came with 56-pound injectors. Anybody that's been in the boosted world knows that that's not going to support enough fuel. And they have the obvious upgrade of the 72 injectors for the cars. I ordered the kit with the ID1000s, not knowing that Whipple wouldn't tune that. I was already under the impression that, you know, I would give them a shot, let them see how the car performed. I had sent out the PCM so that they could tune it. I waited 2 weeks for it. They said, "Oh, hey, we can't tune it because you got ID1000 on the car."
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know they wouldn't tune it for 1000s.
They have just a real specific setup for these cars where they don't really tune outside of their barriers. And so I was, the car was finished being built. I had probably 12 to 24 hours notice as far as getting the car tuned, getting the car to me. I called up Lund probably 2 o'clock at night, told him I need an engage by tomorrow, can you overnight it out to me? He tuned my last car. He didn't really have an issue, you know, getting me set up and getting the car at least on a base tune, and I mean, it was running fine. I did order it with the 3.625 pulley. When I started logging the car, Lund told me to return it back to the stock 3.75 pulley, and that's where it's been ever since. But
why'd they tell you to return it back to that? Was it
fear of detonation? I think it's just on the pulley that I'm at right now, I'm pretty much maxed out on pump gas. If you dump any more pulley into it, you gotta risk detonation and things start to tear apart the vehicle.
Okay, so if you go with a smaller pulley, then I guess you have to do your fuel system then?
Yeah, return fuel is the only thing that you can do as far as getting any more power out of this current setup on the vehicle.
Once again, I want to thank you for allowing me to do a video on the car and just being a part of this. Again, guys, don't forget, make sure to check Chris out. You can check his Instagram out. It's Project Quicksilver. Quick Silver. I'll post the link down, or I'll post it down in the description below. If y'all have any questions, y'all can either message Chris or y'all can message me, and I'll relay the message, or if it's a message for me, whatever it is. Comment down below. Y'all take care. Y'all have a great day.